Jimmy, we're seeing a lot of guys opt out around the country now over the last week. Why do you think no one from Pitt has decided to do that?
I think we got a team full of guys that really love football. And right now, playing the season is our top priority, and playing football, I think, is what we want most. So I think the university, our athletic staff, our athletic training staff, and the coaches as a whole have done a fantastic job following all protocols and making sure we're safe. And, we're extremely comfortable with how things have gone so far. And at the end of the day, we're a bunch of guys. I'm not saying that the other kids don't love football, but I think right now playing a season is a top priority for a lot of us.
Jimmy, speaking of the season, what did you think when you saw the schedule, both the dates but also the opponents? Adding Clemson in particular to the schedule this year. I
thought the schedule got a lot better. I'm excited. More ACC games, they're always more exciting than the out of conference games. So I was ecstatic about seeing this schedule change, and especially my younger sister goes to Clemson, and 2 years ago, you guys know, I broke my ankle, so I wasn't able to play against Clemson. So, and also I've never played at Hard Rock Stadium because of that injury too. So I'm excited that they kept Miami away, and that I'm going to be able to go down and play Clemson finally.
Kenny, what do you think about Notre Dame? Obviously, you guys keep that game, but they're eligible for the ACC title game and all that kind of stuff. I mean, just as a player, what are your kind of thoughts on that? On that they're eligible this year?
I don't think it changes my thoughts too much about my approach to playing them or adding them to the conference. It's just another opponent on the schedule, and another team added to the mix. So I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Kenny, Coach Narduzzi was telling us that he felt you were walking around with a different confidence or a different air. What's different for you this season?
I would say experience and just going through a second year of the offense, having a more better understanding of what I'm doing and what the coach are asking me to do, and I can hold the players to a higher standard as well that are around me. So if anything, I'd say I just raised the standard up for myself and my teammates, and today went pretty well, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Kenny, Mark, Coach Whipple was in here talking to us, and he said that he felt he maybe threw too much at you last year, but he said that's just sort of the way I do it. Did it feel like that in the moment? And how would you rate your level of comfort with what he's trying to do now as opposed to a year ago?
I think the fact that he threw a lot at us and he threw a lot at me last year, helped me out to be in the position I am now and how comfortable I feel now. As a player, you want to be pushed, and that's what he did, and I'm happy he did it, and I think we'll make the jump this year as an offense.
Jimmy, why do you think your offensive line, you guys are going to make a jump? I'm sure you feel that there's a lot of improvement to be made, and you have a chance to make that improvement. Why don't you think you're going to be successful with that?
We have all of the key returning pieces. We have, I think, is it 6 or 7 guys who have all started games on our line. And, after watching the film last year, and the general consensus around the room is, we're all extremely disappointed with our performance last year. So we have a lot to prove. And, it really – we were grinding in the offseason, and this is the tightest O-line room I've seen in my past 5 seasons, or going on my 5th season right now. So we're extremely close. We hold each other to a high standard, and we expect a lot out of each other. So I think this year is going to be probably one of the best years you've seen at Pitt O-line.
It's a tight offensive line. What does that look like? Off the field, what does that look like? You guys are tight.
Everything we do is together. On the weekends we're at somebody's place hanging out, or we eat all the meals together. We go to the training room together. We hang out in the locker room together. Everything we do in the facility that you can always – if there's one O-lineman, there's another O-lineman right next to him, or there's one not very far. We do everything together. Extra work, extra treatment, positional drills on our own. Everything we do is together. Our group chat's always blowing up. We're extremely tight.
Jimmy, as you're watching that film that you were upset about, how much of that is because of the run game, and how do you get that going here this year?
Run game, I think, is just more getting a rhythm. We got to put more emphasis on practice. You practice harder, the games become easier. So I think, we had a lot of young guys coming in, not young guys, but inexperienced. And now we have experience. And So now all the guys, know what it takes to what you have to, you got to pay your rent on Tuesday and Wednesday so that Saturdays are easier. So I think a lot of it has to do with how we practice, and, we're a lot more mature now and, more experienced. We're more veteran focus group.
You talked about the O-line being pretty close. How's KJ Wilson fitting in with you guys?
He's doing great. Kendrick's a good guy. I'm excited to see us put on the pads and watch him out there. So he's doing a good job, though.
Jimmy, obviously a lot can kind of change, COVID, schedule, all that kind of stuff, still a little bit up in the air. But seeing an actual schedule release and everything, was that kind of like a sigh of relief for you and you guys? I mean, how did you, regardless of who you're playing, just seeing that grid with the helmets and everything like that kind of get released, what was kind of your guys' reaction?
It was definitely relieving. I was excited to see it finally that they put out a schedule, and then we know who we're playing and when we're playing. But right now, just trying to take every day, one day at a time, and control what I can control. So I was glad to see the ACC did that. And, our team, Pitt football program as a whole, is excited to play all 11 games. Planning on playing more, hopefully. So, but, it was exciting for me to see, especially because it's my last year. So,
Jimmy, Coach Narduzzi said that you guys had a really smooth first day of practice, and you talked about the closeness of your line. How do you feel about the timing of you guys as a unit, footwork and having to put things together as far as starting the season compared to previous years?
Can you what do you mean by time? Just like footwork or?
Yeah, like footwork, coming off the ball at the same time, making sure that you guys are on the same page and communicating so far.
I think a lot of that has to do with experience. So we've all played next to each other for, we've had a whole season under our belt. We lost Nolan Ulizio, but other than that, Gabe was rotating with him and Cradle was coming in halfway through the season. So we've been around each other for a long time. Bryce and I have been playing together for 2 years, starting next to each other every game. So, O-line is just all about cohesiveness. Every guy has to do their job or else the play's not going to work. And I think the more plays you get, the better you are. So we're in – having coached Borbs now over the past couple seasons. So we all know what's expected of us and we hold each other to a high standard. So just making sure we continually execute that standard every day.
Jimmy or Kenny, you guys can either of you feel free to answer this, but Pitt hasn't announced a set return date for one of these days for people to go back to in-person classes yet. Are you guys comfortable playing a season when the university says that in-person classes aren't safe to return to yet?
Want to go, Jim? I'll go second.
Yeah, I'm completely comfortable. I'm ready to play the season, so I'm fine with doing virtual classes or in person. I don't think it. Hopefully, it won't affect me, but I know that down here in Southside at the Durats complex, the coaches and the medical staff have done a fantastic job of keeping us safe. So that's not one of my worries right now.
Yeah, I agree with Jimmy. They also gave us the option of when they do go back to class to stay online, which I will do. Just have to put myself at risk and be around people that I'm not around every day in the football facility. So I'll explore that option if they give it to us.
Kenny, how has this whole thing, as a young man, senior, a leader, how has this whole pandemic changed your perspective on life and football?
Right. I mean, you got to be more appreciative for the little things in life. I think, when we were in quarantine and, you're not coming to a first-class facility every day. You're training in a garage, you're running in the street, your hot fences trying to throw. Just more appreciative for the things you have and the people that you do it with. So if anything, I'll take that away from this whole experience.
Kenny, what about your physical maturity? Do you find yourself being a little stronger, throwing the ball a little tighter, a little farther than you did maybe a couple years ago?
Obviously, definitely from when I was a freshman. I think I made jumps every off season, but this one especially, going off of Coach Stack's program, being real strict on myself and my training habits when I was home. I came back a lot stronger. I came back with 9 pounds of muscle and down 7 pounds of fat. That's a tribute to the Coach Stack and the program that he sent us out. So physically I feel this is the best I've felt in my career. So I'm excited to get going.
Kenny, what
is a little surreal that, I mean, this is it. I mean, how quickly the last, 2.5, 3 years have gone. I mean, have you set I mean, does that, I know every year it has a sense of urgency, but does it feel a little bit different considering everything else going on and the fact that maybe this personal stakes for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're always looking forward to the next thing, which is, the crazy thing about college football. As soon as you're done with the season, you want to hop into training, get ready for spring. And then after spring, you're getting ready for summer. You never really get a chance to take the time and sit back and look at what you've accomplished and appreciate the kind of journey you've been on. But now, with what's going on, you definitely don't have time to do that. So I'm taking it day at a time, and I love the guys that I'm doing it with. And, I'm just grateful, for a fourth year and, just hope we can do it.
Do you ever find yourself maybe, moments alone, you think ahead a little bit of the possibility of, well, if the season gets canceled or gets cut off after a couple of games, whether you would come back for another year after that if that opportunity was available to you?
I mean, I think that's all hypothetical, and it just adds stress to your life that you don't need. So as far as I'm concerned, whether we're playing September 12th, so that's all I care about. And until something changes, or I hope, nothing changes and we get to do this thing right, get to play 11 games and hopefully get a championship shot and a bowl game shot. So really I'm just focused on September 12th, and if something happens, then we'll figure that out when it happens.
Kenny, what does Lucas add to your group, and what do you think of your group of receivers as well?
I think this is the deepest group that we've had, since my time here. I think we added a lot of speed, added some size with Lucas as well as speed with him. He's kind of a freak of nature when you watch him. But when he's in there, it's just a different kind of feel when he's over the middle. Shockey's playing, at a high level. Jared Wayne had, some really big plays today. Tayseer Mack obviously has done a great job. And a young kid, Jordan Addison, I think is going to, be an impact player for us. Watching him early on, and he just adds a different element with his speed. So I'm very excited. A lot of work to be done, but I think we have some good pieces this year.
Kenny, you had the second highest average of passing yards per game last year in the ACC. What are some of the aspects of your game you look back at and you're focusing on to change the most about going into this season?
I think we need to be more aggressive, score more touchdowns, take more shots down the field, and obviously be more effective in the red zone. That's where we struggled last year. We need to take more shots into the end zone. And I think the run game is going to be, a lot improved, much improved from last year, and that, that'll help us out in the pass game as well. So I think, if we can perfect those things, in camp, everything else will take care of itself when the season comes around.
Any final questions for either Kenny or Jimmy?
Jimmy, you've had different coaches along the way. What's it mean to a team to have the continuity of the coaching staff, and how does that kind of play out for you guys in practice and getting prepared?
The continuity is huge, especially in a time, day and age of this chaos that's going on and, all the uncertainty in the world. I feel terrible for the other teams that have coordinator changes or even head coaches changes, because I couldn't imagine, going through a whole different program or different position coaches, different coordinators. It's a lot. So it's great to know that, we have every coach back and a lot of returning starters back too, which is nice.
Jimmy, let me ask you the same question I asked Kenny about how this whole thing has changed your opinion as a senior member of the group. Just going through this process, how has this changed your perspective?
Kind of going off what Kenny said, just being more grateful for what we do have here. The University of Pittsburgh takes great care of us, and our coaches here. It's we miss seeing each other's faces in the facility every day. It's different on Zoom. Even with you guys, I wish we could see you guys in person in the team room. But it's definitely made me a lot more grateful for the past 4 years I've had at Pitt. Wishing that I could have had that spring ball back and the full summer training. But at the end of the day, it's also, positive aspect. Try to look at things and only control what I can control and not get upset over things that are out of my reach, kind of. So, take advantage of every day. And, Coach Narduzzi handed out goal cards today, 5 goals that you want for camp. And, my top one was enjoy every day. And so that's kind of, I got 5-6 months left of wearing the Pitt script. So I'm just trying to take advantage of every opportunity I have left in Southside.
Good for you. Thanks.
Guys, we can't see practice, obviously. Can you give us an idea? I mean, obviously football, you huddle, there's high fives, there's hugs. What is this like right now, having to social distance and masks and things like that?
I would say you see a lot less of that. On the sideline, we're spread out. You can't be close. Every time you get a water, you have to give it back to the trainer. She wipes it down. You can't hand – so if I get a drink, I can't be like, hey, Jim, here, and give him the bottle. That's taken away. High fives or, you try not to touch each other. Sometimes you get excited in the game and it happens. But for the most part, we have the face shields, which are not fun to wear in this heat. Definitely adds another element to the game. So there's a lot of things that are changing. I think it's going to continue to change as more research is done. And, the safest – but I can tell you one thing. I feel 100% safe with what we're doing. Our staff's done a great job and our trainer's done a great job. So I think, we're on the right path here.
Coach Narduzzi said last week that those face shields were popping off some of the guys, and that was even without.
I'll figure it out.
What's that adjustment like to you guys? And does it fog up? Are you guys able to see fully and all that kind of stuff, or what's the deal?
Guys who have a full shield, I would recommend that they take that off because it does fog up. You're breathing heavy. Once you're in a game, you're breathing heavy. It hits the shield and it pops up. So if you don't have, if you have something covering, like a visor, there's nowhere for that air to go. So it fogs up and guys have a tough time seeing. Really, it's just the breathing aspect of it. I know the linemen struggle, and then we're going up tempo, and then I'm breathing heavy. So it's an adjustment that we're gonna have to make, and I don't know if we'll have to wear it in the game. I really hope not, but you'll see what they say.
Jimmy, is it tough for the linemen?
It is. It's just the new normal. Got to get used to it. So we'll be fine though. As long as we can play football. If that's the price we got to pay, that's a pretty cheap price, I think.
Agreed.
You guys have all been adjusting to life in Oakland or the South Side or wherever you're living for the past few months, learning what you can do and what you need to do to be safe. What's it going to be like 2 weeks from now when there's 10,000 other 18 to 21, 15,000 other 18 to 21-year-olds that are rolling into Oakland? How difficult is it going to be? You guys are both seniors. You can probably take care of yourselves, but you have 100 and some guys on your team. How hard is it going to be to stay safe for the next 4 months, 6 months? You know what I mean?
It's definitely going to be tough. I'm glad I'm a redshirt senior, and I'll be fine, and a lot of other guys will be fine. But I feel bad for the younger guys who don't get to experience the whole, college experience when they're younger. But it's just a price we have to pay. So I'm sure everybody in this facility wants football more than anything right now. So if that's what we have to do, then that's what we have to do, is stay away. So like Kenny said, a lot of us are going to do online classes, and I'm going to stay away from Oakland. I live in Southside, so I'm going to live in, be a little hermit in my apartment and be in Durats, and that's the only places I'm going to be.
Jimmy, just to be clear, you guys are wearing those big face shields while you're practicing?
Not Jerry, not the visor. It's just down here above. It's over the mouth. So it's like a clear liner. Some skill guys who wear the visors, they have a double mask, but just a majority of the guys just have covering the mouth and the nose.
And that's while you're practicing, not just on the sideline.
Yes.
Right.
Field.
That's why we're practicing, yeah.